Hey folks, how's it going?
Pretty decent. How about you? Yada yada yada.
Doing all right. We're just selling this, so bear with me. So today we're going to talk about some very serious stuff. So serious that you should all pay attention. Now we're just going to be talking about judging and playing at regular. So for those who don't know me, hi, my name's Brandon. I am an L1 from Dayton, Ohio. I've been judging for about a year now. Judged just about every store there, except for a couple, not me.
It's okay.
And so today I'm going to talk to you about playing and judging at a store and what all goes with that. It kind of seems simple. It really is, to be fair. I'm just going to break it down pretty simple for you. So, first, is it allowed? Yeah. Uh, you can do it as long as it's at regular. You might want to keep it to like small events and not like. So if you have like a 50-person F&M for some reason, it happens. That's not the appropriate time to do that because you're going to be way busier than you think you will be, and so you won't be able to like play games. You won't be able to take judge calls if you're like in the middle of something. Um, so definitely for like smaller events, like I would say whatever you can handle by yourself efficiently and still have the free time. Me personally, I would say 20. Um, but that's just me.
And play aggro.
Yeah, if you play aggro, then you'll be fine. Like me, and you play control, it's not fine.
Judge put Jessica in control and play at the same time. The judge put Jessica in control.
Dude, it's called Red Dead Blitz. Have you heard of it?
Red loses. Nobody's in control.
Sorry. Not Red Dead
I mean,
Blitz.
don't judge. Like,
So one of the things I want to discuss is questions that you might ask with playing and judging at the same time. And one of the first ones would be, this clicker is really nice though. Why would you want to? Does anyone have any reasons why you would want to do both at the same time? Yes, Steve.
because I like playing and I like judging.
Fair enough.
Square.
Yes.
Actually, in my case, I usually play at my standard showdowns because I have a low turnout, but also because I'm the only judge at my store that likes to judge standard. So that usually falls on me to have to be there for it.
That is a fair point. Yes.
Because you need 8 people to make the tournament happen.
That is also very fair, especially before Dominaria when Standard was like actually bad and nobody just wanted to play Standard, or you just had like 7 people and they're
Some
just
of us still want to play standard.
well, yeah, there's some of us who wanted to still play Standard, but a large majority of people did. Yes.
Kind of more from a learning perspective, you can get more of a perspective on what it's like to be on the other side. Like you can understand a little bit more about how players interact. You can potentially learn a little bit more about how to be a good judge when you are just judging.
Yes, exactly. Starting off, it is a good way to get your feet wet with judging. And also, one important fact: stores need judges. Everyone, when you think about it, everyone, believe it or not, all Magic judges start off as players. So if you're playing at a store and just happens to be a store that doesn't have a judge, it gets you to it definitely gets you to introduce as a player into judging. So
Yeah, and like some of us were playing a lot longer than we were judging. So
and then if you have an interest in judging, it introduces you into that. Um,
yeah, I
also,
wonder who that is.
it's a great way to teach new players. You have some players who like see everyone playing Magic, like, oh, that seems cool, but I don't have any money for a deck now, or hey, I bought this pre-con deck at Walmart and I want to play it with other people.
That's me giving you cards because you're a new player.
It's a great way to teach new players, and that's one thing that goes into customer service, which is very important for judging. Is well, we need players to play Magic, and irregardless of what you think, we do need players to play Magic.
Sorry.
And
You only need 7 friends.
so when can you do it? What specific times would there be where you would want to do play and judge at the same time?
small.
Yes.
Last night, we had Battle Lodge event happening, and there was a player that didn't have a partner. So I stepped in to play while I was really over there to answer rules, but I could do that as a 9, I think we had 9 teams.
That, like,
Super huge.
during like product release or pre-release. Any other time? Yes. F&M. Definitely as casual as you can get. Anyone, if the TO lets you do it. I'm sure some don't have any issues with it, but another one that goes very unnoticed that a lot of people don't think about, open house.
Oh yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing that not too many people think about. But open house events before like a product release will come with the welcome packs. Players can come in, play against a judge, and walk away with like a promo or prize or something. I know with Amonkhet, which was the last one I did, there was like a foil land that players got when they handed out to them. It's one of those things that you don't really think about, but if you do it often enough, it does go hand in hand. Like you're helping the player learn how to play Magic, and you're playing with them, and it creates like an experience that they'll remember. So if they want to continue playing this game, they're like, "Hey, I like that judge. He showed me how to play and played with me. I want to go back to the store and continue to play." And that brings more players into your area and gets your customer service. All about. Now, how can you do so effectively?
Like you were saying, don't try and do it at an event that is 30 or 40 people.
Yes, that gets very hectic very quickly.
Don't get so engrossed in your match that you stop paying attention to what's around you.
Yes, that is very important because there may be something going on in a different match that will definitely require your attention, and you may not be paying attention to it because you're just so focused on what you and your opponent are doing, and you need to be focused on the entire area.
I also make sure that I'm sitting somewhere where I can easily get up and get
Yes,
to other tables.
because if you're in an area where, like, say for instance, there's a judge call over there, and I have to get through this aisle. Now, obviously, it's not going to work very well because I'm not going to get through there without like bumping any people or causing a disruption. So I want to be able to sit in an area where I can get somewhere without doing any of that.
Or you
Not-
end up stuck in the middle of a bunch of tables.
Yeah, end up stuck in the middle of a bunch of tables, and everyone who makes a judge call just happens to be on like the outside of corners. Also, one other thing to go into that is you cannot do it effectively if you are used to, as a player instead of a judge, being very spiky, like very competitive. Because if you do so, it kind of leads with an impression that to your players that, hey, this judge is like always playing to win. They're like super strict about the rules, and it makes me not want to play, especially not play against this person. So I don't know how I feel about them judging events if they're incredibly strict. And in a regular, that's not what you want to do. That's not the impression that you want to leave.
Well, there's been times where I've been playing and exactly what you're saying, where I've given somebody a win because my attention was needed somewhere else within the tournament. I'm like, listen, I got calls I gotta go make, I gotta go put these results, whatever. My deck's not doing very well, I'm just gonna get fed and give you the win anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And for that point, because sometimes there's a more pressing matter, my match doesn't matter nearly as much as making the tournament run smooth.
And it's more fair to your opponent because you're not using up all that time when they could have been playing.
Right.
And, yes.
The other big point on that is conflict of interest. Are you more interested in judging the event and putting on a good atmosphere, or are you more interested in spiking the tournament win?
Exactly. And if you're a judge who's more interested in spiking a regular tournament than creating a good atmosphere, then it causes issues.
Then you don't judge what you play.
Now, I'm gonna do a couple demonstrations just because it really sets a picture on what it's like to judge and play at regular. So I'm going to take this. And so, say for instance, one of the situations we described, Dawn and I, we were playing a game, and we're very close in this game. We're doing control mirrors for some reason, and I get a call from all the way across the room. And if I get up and go all the way across the room, at first it's going to take quite a bit of time because I'm not anywhere close to where I'm centrally located to be around people. So I'm going to take a call all the way over here. Say these two people are playing. And this is a really complicated call for some reason. Like, say for instance, something like cards went missing for a few turns and nobody knows where they are, and it becomes very important to the game. And this call lasts for about 5 to 6 minutes. And then by the time I get back, I'm done answering the call, and I get back to my table. Now, I don't know what has happened up here. I don't know if anything has been looked at. I would hope that nothing has been looked at that wasn't supposed to be looked at. And we both lost 6 minutes of game time. So do you think that would be fair for my opponent? That A, we lost so much game time that could have been spent playing, and B, there's so much more time being used to get across the room just to answer a judge call. And would it still be fair and keeping the integrity of the game if I don't even know what my opponent's doing while I'm not watching? So I would assume you didn't look at the decks, or I would assume you didn't look at my cards.
No,
Okay, so
of course not. That'd be cheating.
that would be cheating. But if there was a more pressing, if there was a more pressing matter over there, I wouldn't be able to know, and that would cause some issues. So another thing I want to do is to say, I have a situation where I'm playing a game, and you're a new player.
Okay.
And so you're playing like a deck of things that you just put together. And I am very competitive. Like, I usually play for GPs, Opens, and PPTQs and stuff like that. And so, say we're in the middle of a game, and like, you're beating me,
Okay.
and I'm just sitting there going, can't do anything about this. Now, what tone does that set to the new player where you're like very frustrated at the game instead of saying, where you're just very frustrated and showing them that like this game is more important than like anything else that is currently going on, even though it is just one game. And you're thinking, why are you so angry over me, a new player, just like winning a game? You think that sets a very positive tone
No.
to this new player?
They may just decide that it's not worth spending their valuable Friday night on.
Yeah, they could do whatever. You play a different game or just be anywhere else. It doesn't set the tone that, hey, I'm here to show you the game and make sure that you have a good time. Now, in the same sense, like you were winning, and I'm just like, well, I don't think I can win this, but you did really good for your first time playing, so I'll go ahead and give you the win. Now, see how happy he is? You get to see, like, that happiness on new players' faces, and sometimes, well, more times than none, it's kids that are playing, and you see that, hey, I got to win and beat a judge, which has happened to me more times than I would like to admit, but moving on. You're like, hey, I got to win my first game of Magic, and I'm gonna keep playing. And then eventually they'll play more, and then you get to not only set that in front of that player, but the entire room as well. They see that, hey, you're like showing this kid the ropes and then walking him through the game. And then if that kid needs any additional questions, then they can also provide that same energy, that same positive energy that you put out, and just keep it going for like this kid, or there's another new person, whoever. It shows that you are there to help, you are there to provide a good experience, and the most important thing is you're providing quality customer service, which is what we're here for. Now, one last thing, and this is actually going to be me going through this in between these tables, is that say you're sitting here, and then you get a judge call from all the way over there, and you figure that, hey, I can't go through here because my match is over here, so the best way would be go through here. Now, does this show that not only have you made the wrong route to go, but also that you are disrupting other players because of where you decided to sit for your match in order to answer other judges' calls? Yeah.
You also just walk behind your opponent.
You also just walk behind your opponent. So it shows that you could have caught a peek at what they were playing and use that as an advantage, which you definitely don't want to do as a judge who's playing against your opponent. So I'm going to walk back through here again.
Usually my first thought is if I have to do that, I have to come around them. Before I even get up, I'd be like, cover your hand. I gotta go answer his call. If I can't for some reason go across from the front, so.
Like you definitely want to make sure that wherever you go the shortest way to avoid wasting as much time, and also a way that does not only disrupt anyone's game, but protects the integrity of your own game.
A lot of times too, we try to, because I have a lot of leeway with the running of the tournaments that we a lot of times try to make sure there's enough room ahead of time with the table configuration so that if players need to walk in between, judge needs to walk in between, that we can kind of mitigate that a little bit ahead of time. Now we have that luxury. Not every location has that luxury. I've been in shops before where it was very tight. They had books everywhere. They had shelves everywhere, and their play space was much more constrained. So sometimes you can fix that ahead of time.
Depending on like how much control you have over your game place and how much control that your TO gives you, you can either say, hey, this is a problem when we run these events because there's not enough room for players, or say, hey, I need to make room so that if I decide to play with them, I can be in an area and answer my calls without disrupting anyone. Then I don't think there should be any TO that has any problem.
I've always had good experiences with that, especially places that are running multiple events from different kinds of games, where I do most of my judging. We try to make it available that the D&D group comes in and wants to run a game and they need a couple of tables, or somebody doing miniatures or whatever, or other card games, that we always try to allocate space for a lot of different people so that we can all be respectful of one another, have plenty of space so that people can, muddle through and whatnot and not have to worry about, oh, I'm sitting up tight like this to play because I got another guy's chair directly in my back. So,
So you definitely want to make sure that you have a space that's comfortable for you and your opponent, and that you have enough space to like move your chair out, get up, move around, and then do so without interrupting anyone or disturbing.
And sometimes on some of the smaller events too, it works out because you might have somebody here, somebody here, somebody here, somebody here, somebody here, and here, and you're only running like a 10 or a 12 person event. So they're within earshot of everyone, but there's enough space that moving around is not an issue because it wasn't like a 30 or 40 person PPTQ. It was just a regular REL event with 12 players.
Mm. And other times you may just get lucky and you only have like an 8 person event, and someone next to you like, hey, I have a question about this, or hey, does this work the way it should? And you'll be right there, like centrally located to answer that without actually having to move much of anything.
Right. Yeah, sometimes it's as simple as all I have to do is turn like this because this is the person asking the question, and they can ask me without having to show me cards. They're like, if this is there here and I do this, does this work this way or whatever? And a lot of times it can be answered pretty quickly based on all the information sitting right there in front of me, and I don't have to get up and necessarily come look at their hand away from the table.
Yeah, you have access to that information very quickly,
So,
and you can provide an answer right there. And you can also let your opponents know, hey, I'm gonna have to move. I'll just answer this quickly, and then we can resume where we are.
One of the other benefits I've noticed is with most of our regular run events, we have a body of players that's usually it's about the same body of players. A lot of them we've known for a long time. So where you talk about the integrity issue about is my opponent going to look at my cards? Is he gonna, finagle something? That usually isn't a thought in my mind because most of the players playing in the tournament, I know first and last names. When they come in, I recognize them right off the spot. I know them, I'm friends with them, whatever. That I don't always feel like I have to worry about that. I understand there's going to be people that are going to be shady and wherever, and you don't always know. But in most cases, I feel like we've been pretty fortunate that those kind of people usually we don't run into. It's always the people that are good people. They're like, I know you got a question, go ahead and ask. I'll wait and finish my turn when you come back. Whatever. So it's usually pretty smooth.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And with all that has been said and anything else I've been doing, do you have any questions?
So, what have you found to be the greatest challenge with judging and playing at Regular REL? I've done it too much myself.
So the greatest challenge I have found with judging and playing at Regular REL is having an opponent who has a question about an interaction that would not go in their favor, but is how the interaction works when you're their opponent. And they try to question whether is that something that's actually true or are you trying to take advantage? And sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring up the rule and say this is how this works, or sometimes it'll even be in gather. This is how the ruling on this specifically works, and I'll show them saying, or if you would like to take that back and do something else because we're at the point where we can do that. This is our option.
Cool, thank you.
Yes.
So say you have an odd number of players. You go into round one, you push the button on word, and now you have to buy. My belief and what I've talked to other judges about is just leave it alone. Just you have to buy, you have to buy. But now that means that you're the judge and you now have a free win. So what is your opinion on that?
Anytime I've had an odd number of players, it's usually been if I'm also playing and there's an odd number, then I'll just drop immediately.
Okay.
Just to make sure that everyone else plays. But if I'm the odd player, more times than none, I've always gotten someone who's come in very late, who's come in late and say, "Hey, I also want to play." Then I'll pair myself up against that person.
It's also important to note that changing who gets the buy in a run event is very much something you're not allowed to do, even if it is in the name of making it look like customer service. At the end of the day, what you're doing is you're manipulating the pairings in a way that is not what the computer said, and that's not something that you're allowed to do per the Wizards.
Right. Which is what I was told basically. Is like, don't, because tampering with it then shows that you're willing to tamper with it. It's better to just leave it alone and just basically play where it lies. Because Because odds are I have one player that'll usually show up and end up dropping anyway after like a round. So having like one round with a bye, 1 or 2 rounds with a bye usually balances out. But
yeah, I usually will try to keep it as if there's an odd number of players that I'm not entering the system, make it even. If there's an odd number and I am in the system, drop out, make it even.
So what kind of problems have you actually had come up? Like known issues, just personal experiences with where you've had problems and judging while playing hasn't worked out.
Some problems I've had were usually some newer players who didn't know who I was and just think, oh, there's just this guy who's allowed to run these events. Also would not know that I'm the judge as well. Sometimes they just wouldn't believe like either certain card interactions or ways that the game worked. And just like, okay, well, how do I know this is right? And the way I would get through that is have other players like, yeah, he knows what he's talking about because this, A, he's our judge. And B, we've also dealt with this interaction before, it works this way. Having players that you know and constantly play as your sword regularly does help with challenges like that. Any more questions? Yes.
Let's say you're playing and judging at the same time. You have a complicated rules question at your table. Now what?
So, if it's complicated to the point where it would take way more time than it should, then I would let my opponent know, hey, this is going to be a while. Let me look it up, and I can discuss it with you. If it affects the game to the point where it becomes problematic to game time, then I would say I can end the game in order to win, and then discuss with you and look up this ruling, and then discuss with you what it is and how it works, so that the player may understand as well. Because if it's a rule that's going to be very complicated and take up way too much time for both of us to play, then I would like to step out of the game, look up the rules of interaction, and then come back to the player and say, hey, this is how this works for future reference.
If I'm your opponent in that case, who is not a judge, I'm gonna have some serious questions about that because in the game, like I'm playing to win because there's prize support on the line potentially, and I'm looking at that as, oh, is he doing this fairly, or is he just telling me this to get the win and then moving on?
Well, if that would be something I would tell you afterwards, I would concede to my opponent to look up the answer. So that way it wouldn't be, hey, I'm going to look this up to see if I can spin this in some way to be my favor. I'm actually just going to stop the match, give my opponent the win, and then let them know, here's how this rule interaction works after the match. So that it doesn't affect what you're currently doing.
I see where you're coming from on that. I think my next concern with that would be, people come to play Magic and you're almost robbing them of that half turn that they get to play, even if they're going to lose out of that. So I really think the better option here is get the TO involved, because in theory they know how the game works.
And I suppose the TO should respect you.
Yes.
And be able to vouch for you even if the players around best players can't.
Yes. Also, if it's that complicated, then you will be able to. Then the TO should be there to discuss with both of you on how things work.
Right, because in that moment when you're playing against somebody else, you are essentially, and people can chime in if they feel differently on this, you are a player first in that match, and then you're a judge for the context of calls in that match.
It doesn't have to be complicated. What if it's simple? Like, I have this cool, I just drew a card. It's a foreign language card. I forgot what this card does, but I don't want to let my judge opponent know what it is.
At that point, I think you should get the TO involved and say, can you look this card up for me because it's boring.
The point is, feel free to tag in a third party that you trust is a good thing to have.
Usually at our events, we have like multiple judges that are either playing or there's one judge actually judging a couple other judges that are playing around. So, yeah, having
a reliable player who knows someone to be a third party is not a bad thing to have.
The point that I think the two of us are kind of driving at is rather than concede against your opponent because you have this weird ruling, is get another person to be your judge and play naturally. Because I'd be pretty insulted if it's like, oh, this is too complicated, I'm going to concede. So I'm like, okay, but what do I do if I run into this at like a GP now? I didn't know how it worked in my FNM. How am I going to work with the GP?
No, I'm willing to say just concede and not give any explanation whatsoever.
Right, but do you see what I mean in the context of the table?
Yeah,
Because there's a lot of feel bads for, I know how this works, you don't know how this works, so I'm going to concede to you and then explain it. It's like, well, why don't you just play the card?
It's no different than a feel bad for a guy that's just built a new deck and he shows up and there's 9 players and he gets the first round buy and it's like, great, I came to play and I get the buy. It's a free win. He could care less because he still wants to play.
Not really, because there's another person involved at that point. And it's almost this upper level of,
Right,
I know how this works, you don't know how this works.
Right, but at a GP, you're not going to have this scenario come up.
True.
Because there will be somebody along the floor, or if it needs to be the head judge, that can come over and give you an explanation on how. Now, it would be nicer that you already knew this ahead of time, so you're prepared for it.
Right.
But sometimes we don't always have that luxury. I mean, in theory, and I say this from a player standpoint as well as being from a judge standpoint, those players, just like I do, have access to the same information. If I need to look up something because I don't completely know how it works,
yep.
If I'm using whatever means to find the correct answer, other players also have that same technology at their disposal, and they have better phones than I do. So
it's more a thing where I think you're better off getting a third party to come in and say, yeah, this is how this interaction works, rather than just saying, I'm going to concede so I can explain it.
Gotcha. There's no more questions.